Yeah.
I do.
So could you just start telling us a bit about your coaching history and qualifications?
Yes, well, I used to be an athlete myself, and then basically had a knee operation which stopped me from competing. So then I went into coaching after finishing my degree. Coached with Great Britain pentathlon, which is kind of obviously 5 sports, an Olympic sport. And then I was like a national talent coach for them, just basically going across the country looking for swimmers and runners to get into their talent programme. So I did that for 3 years. Got made redundant after 2012, the Olympics, and then obviously just come into triathlon.
So how did you get into triathlon? Like before, did you like play before?
So I used to be a swimmer as a kid. So I used to swim for Great Britain from the age of like 11 to 15, and then I used to run as well. And then I met Jack Maitland, who was the head coach here. I just did a race. I did an aquathlon, which is a swim run event. Did pretty well in that, and then Jack said, you've got a bit of talent, come on, which is like a world class programme. Basically got into triathlon that way.
Would you say Jack kind of inspired, influenced you?
I suppose he pointed me in the right direction. So like back then, that was probably like 12 years ago now. Yeah. Triathlon were a very small sport. Obviously now it's massive. Back then it was very, I think the first race there were 3 people. It was me, Alistair, and a guy called Dom. There were 3 of us in like a Yorkshire Champs, which now if you go to them, they'd probably be like 50, 60 kids per age group. So
So moving on to yourself as a coach, do you have like a coaching philosophy?
Do I have what, sorry?
Have a coaching philosophy?
It's quite hard to put into words, but I mean the way we try and work in Yorkshire is kind of where I coach mainly, just keeping everything basic. So obviously with kids, it's just getting kind of the time of training in. So we try and the philosophy is probably like a lot of aerobic kind of work. As opposed to, so there's very few key sessions of quality. There's only probably like 1 or 2 swims a week, 1 or 2 runs a week, 1 or 2 bikes. The rest of it is just base endurance training. So getting athletes as kind of fit as possible and doing a lot of miles. But like I say, sticking to the basics and using the countryside we've got around here to train.
So would you say like your coaching changes between like different sports? Well, the different like run, bike, swim, and your coaching styles?
Well, we mainly only coach. The majority of coaching is done swimming. We do like pretty much a session every day for that. Running, we only do 2 sessions a week, and then cycling, we only do 1 session a week. So the volume obviously we coach a lot more in swimming than we do in anything else. But I wouldn't say the style necessarily changes. It's more just try and make it. I mean, one of my philosophies is make it enjoyable. So we try and. Obviously there's a serious aspect to it, but at the end of the day, a lot of the people we coach are either kids or students, so we try and keep it, people want to do the sport for fun as well as performance, so it's making it.
You have to kind of change between kids and students. Do you think your communication will start to change?
The kids I coach want to be the talented kids are some of the best in the country, so they want to be doing the sport. So they do actually. I suppose the only difference is the older athletes interact more, so it's more like 2-way communication. With kids, a lot of the time it's more one way. It's always talking, to them and explaining stuff. Whereas athletes or students who are older, obviously, kind of they're adults, they're 18 and above, so they're able to communicate 2 ways.
Do you have a preference to which ones?
No, don't to be honest. No, I like both.
Have you got like any like short, medium or long term goals for like the athletes you coach?
Well, with our academy athletes, that's the ambition for them is to turn them into the next kind of Olympic champions. So they're on a pathway which they've been identified as the best young kids in the country, and now my job is to turn them from being a talented kid into an Olympic champion and help them on that process. With the students here, the squad I coach with mainly is the fitness athletes, so a lot of them are just doing it for fun. But again, it's my aim to try and get them into the sport, get them a lot fitter, and then get them into kind of university competitions and going out and just achieving the best they can really.
Do you get set any targets or constraints by the university or the national?
Not in my role, no. Basically, with the fitness athletes, we're just trying to help them develop as athletes, and at the end of the day they only do 3 sessions a week to the fitness squad. one swim, one bike and run. So in 3 sessions you can't really turn them into an Olympic athlete, but it's basically making them enjoy the sport, see what it's about, and then go away and compete.
Is that different for like the little kids, or not the little kids but the kids?
Well, the little kids are like obviously the next crop of talented athletes. So it's a lot different in that there is kind of, I suppose, goals for them, and we have standards that we've got to adhere to. As in, we're trying to produce not just a good triathlete, we're trying to produce a world-class athlete. So.
Would you say then you've got like a certain style or a scheme of work you go for the academy?
A certain what, sorry?
Like style or scheme?
Not really. I mean, we have a process we go through to find the kids. We basically go out and look for swim runners. So we try and go into all the swim clubs, all the run clubs, and also the triathlon clubs, and try and find young kids who are talented in the swim and run. Biking is one that can be coached. So if you can't swim or run as a kid, it's very hard to teach that. Whereas biking's easy. So we try and find kids who are swimmers and runners, and then
And then just back to you. Do you have any plans to develop yourself? Any more courses or experiences?
I mean, I could do one more level. So at the moment, I'm a level 2 triathlon coach, and the level 3 is the highest you can get to in the country, which I can quite easily do. The thing that's stopping me is the expense. It's like, I think it's about 1,500 quid to do. But I see developing more as being doing what you do as a coach, and going on. So I'm going on a training camp in Spain with Alan John in next Thursday. So we'll go over there for 2 weeks, and there's just a small group of athletes, but they're the best athletes in the world. So I see that as better development than getting a badge, as it is. It's something you can put on your CV to say, led a training camp with an Olympic champion, a world champion, and that's the kind of development that I see as being the best. As anyone can go on a coaching course and get the paperwork, but very few can get the experience of working with their athletes. So that's.
Would you fancy like going abroad, like to a more a lesser developed country at triathlon, seeing how far you could get them?
I don't know, in the future maybe. I mean, at the moment I'm happy where I'm at with. Leeds is the probably dominant place in the world for triathlon. We have the best athletes. We've probably got the best training group in the world in terms of. I mean, we've got 90 athletes here, but we've got 16 full-time athletes. And I think in terms of if you were to you look at football and say like Spain or Germany, dominant countries in triathlon, the UK is. So I suppose it would be a totally different challenge. At the moment, I like working with the best kind of country in the world, the best athletes in the world. I don't know, maybe something I'd consider later in life, but at the moment, it's kind of a good environment to be in.
Would you be interested in the future to get involved in any different sports other than triathlon?
I don't know, probably in the long term maybe, but I mean at the moment I've kind of like I say, I've been in swimming, been in running. I've played football to a decent level as a kid. Obviously just triathlon, one that I were talented in, enjoyed, and I suppose got to travel the world doing. And then I've worked in a different sport, pentathlon. I suppose pentathlon and triathlon are different sports, but also similar in that they're multi-sports. So pentathlon's 5 sports, triathlon's 3. But I suppose it's something I've done since I was a kid, so I know a lot about. I suppose going to another sport it'd be a big challenge. But it's something I suppose I wouldn't rule out.
So you say you've done different sports. How would you say the social scene changes between each sport, like football, pentathlon, triathlon?
Well, I think obviously you look at pentathlon, triathlon, they're very individual sports. So you've got to, I suppose your mentality is different. You've got to be self-motivated to do them. So you look at football, it's a big team sport. So I suppose there's hiding places. If you have a bad game, you've got teammates who can help you. And you get away with that. In a sport like triathlon, pentathlon, when you go onto a race day, it's pretty much you on your own. There's no one to blame, no one to. Your result is kind of due to the work you've put in. So you have a good result, it's due to the hard work. If you have a bad result, it normally just highlights that you've. But I think triathlon's becoming more of a social sport because obviously cycling and running, they're sports you can actually communicate in. Swimming, obviously your head's in the water. You're pretty much looking at the bottom of the pool for an hour and a half. With cycling, you can go out for 4-hour rides, and you can talk for 4 hours, and it's more of a social aspect, which I think is why that attracted me to triathlon from being a swimmer is that you're able to communicate with people.
Would you say that it's like mainly kicked off after the Olympics? The success of the Olympics by.
I mean, I think it was a growing sport, but yeah, I think having people like, I mean, a set of brothers, first of all, it kind of makes people take a lot more notice. If there were only one of them two doing the sport and they weren't brothers, I don't think the profile would be as high. You look at tennis, you've got the Williams sisters, and I think them type of profiles kind of, they always look at that rivalry. So you look in football, it's Messi, Ronaldo. You look in triathlon now, it's Alistair, Johnny, maybe Gomez. So I think just having the fact that we've had two brothers in this country, and it was a home Olympics of 2012. I think that's kind of accelerated the growth of the sport. If this Olympics had been in a different country, I don't think the acceleration of the growth would have been as quick. But it just all coincided that you were home Olympics. We've got two of the best in the world. Yeah, and then obviously based in Leeds as well. It attracts a lot of students here now, and we get a lot of people coming to the university just because they want to be associated with training in the same kind of group as it is as the Brownlees or even non-Stanford, who's a world champion. Yeah.
Do you think the level of growth will continue at the same rate over the next, in terms of like new people coming in?
I think it probably will until 2016. Yeah, so triathlon's one of the fastest growing sports in the world at the moment, and the amount of kids now getting involved in the sport, and then I think people are seeing it as a new challenge. As in, like they do half marathons, they do marathons. I suppose it's kind of what's the next challenge after that, and you see a lot of time now people are taking triathlon as people that have never done the sport before, all of a sudden buying a bike, and competing in events. So I think the growth will continue until 2016, and then it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens after that.
That's everything.
Yeah, that's everything.
Yeah.
And you don't mind us using this for his essays out there?
Using what, sorry?
You don't mind us using the information for his essays?
Oh no, there's nothing. No, there's nothing in there.
Just got to ask.
Private. Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.